We are live. 8:01. Almost missed it. I was watching a YouTube video and I was getting into it. It was a cinematography breakdown video of another person who makes films on the internet. Anyway, how are you guys? Happy Bandcamp Friday. I see some folks in that chat there. We got some Tom, Mr. Gunky Zip, Mr. Marauder, Mr. Moments from Stretched and Framed. I don't know if everyone identifies as a Mr. You know, we live in a world that is complicated. Things are different. So, yeah, I will refrain from my typical speak in that way for now. Kazuki Hiratani, how are you, man? Good to see everyone. Street Rat's, you know, hearting it up. Good to see you guys. Good to make yet another month. I think this is the longest stretch of Bandcamp Fridays that I've ever done. Longest stretch of maybe anything consistent that I've ever done, at least on a monthly level. Pretty cool. I'm going to do a quick count, actually, as to how many of these we've done in a row. YouTube Studio, and we go to the whatchamacallit. Actually, we can put this on the thingamabobber here on the screen. Let's put it on the screen. Bandless. YouTube. First thing that comes up. That's cool. And then live. And then let's do this. Desktop bottom right. Whoa! It's not showing it. What did I do wrong? I guess I have to go to Window. Here we go. And let's go. Got it. Okay. And what do we got here? All right. I forgot. I rebooted my system beforehand. But yeah, so these Bandcamp Friday, Bandless Friday, first Friday of every month, video live streams. How long have we been doing these? Bandcamp Friday since 2 years now. Holy moly. This is the very first one. Oh, that's a wild looking backdrop. Whatchamacallit? What are we looking for here? What's the date? 2 years ago. Is that all it says? Oh, the date's right here. So, October 2021 was the first one, and we've been doing it straight ever since, I think. Maybe we've missed one or two. 10, 11, 12. Oh, that's not it. I guess that's a January, then February, March, April, May, June, right, because Juneteenth. Did not do July of 2022. Interesting. And then August, September, October, November, December, unofficial. So January 2023, February, March, April, May, June. No June. So we skipped Juneteenth last year. So I guess it's been every month since last Bandless Friday, but not tonight because Bunn took a last minute gig. Oh yeah, and then I did it the next night. Right. So Bandcamp Friday every day since then. Every month since then, like consistently every single month. So that's only 8 episodes, which is hard to believe. But I guess that's what happens when you do things only once a month. It doesn't add up to much. Anyhow, we've been doing this for a while. I never really look that. How are you guys? How has your Bandcamp Friday been? Has anybody been perusing Bandcamp? I actually did my Bandcamp hunting earlier this week. I did it on, I think, Tuesday, something like that. Often I leave it to the last minute to do my hunting, but this month I did all my hunting earlier in the week. I love hunting for music on Bandcamp. Not sure how you guys do it. Let me know how you do it. I have a number of methods. Something that I've gotten really fond on recently is going to other people's collections. So if I see, appears in my collection, if I see an artist and it says appears in 100 other people's collections or 1,000 other people's collections, I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe those people, I'll just go to that page and then start clicking on people and looking at their collection of Bandcamp stuff. And I found that to be recently the most amazing way to find new music. There's a couple ways you can search for music on Bandcamp with the actual search functionality and the filters, and it's quite good. But a little bit of curation kind of helps. So the recommends at the bottom of artist pages, I guess we could take a look at that. Let's do that with this. We'll do it with my own, just because then there's no, we'll go bam. Oh, it doesn't on my own. It doesn't show shoot all on my own. Okay. All right. So Bandcamp bottom right. So if we go genres, like this is a common way to search on Bandcamp. I'm sure everyone's done it, but let's see here. Terrible selection there. Let's go all category. Oh, not all categories. And let's go sludge. Sure. Artists and labels, actually tracks, all results, and then music tagged with sludge. Great. Got that. And then all sludge, or we can go sludge and then subcategory, experimental or Canada or post-hardcore. Let's go sludge, post-hardcore. That appeals to my interests typically. And then we get all these things. And the way I'll do it is like, I'll typically click on everything, or I'll click on the most interesting covers to me. And often I've found that the aesthetics of the cover have a lot to do with whether or not I will like the music. Not always, but often. And I can often tell right away what I'm going to expect, what to expect by the nature of the cover. Like this cover right here, I have a really good idea of what that's going to sound like. And of course, you probably want me to click on it because I've let's.
I don't know if I have any feelings.
Yeah.
I don't think any.
Starts with
I
a
mean,
sample.
Maybe.
Exactly what I thought it would sound like. Which is maybe a good thing or a bad thing. Depends who you're talking to. So you can search that way. And then let's click on Ken mode. Ken mode is cool. And let's go to Ken mode. stop that. Let's go to the Ken mode thing. So this is the second way you can look for stuff. You can go, oh, this is Ken mode's most recent album. And then you go to the bottom here, and these suggestions are usually often interesting. You know, Kowloon Walled City, that's a great recommendation, very relative to the whole Ken mode sound. Teen Girl Suicide to Social Success by HYD. That's interesting. What does that sound like? That's actually interesting. It's kind of like wacky, but I find it interesting. And Wrong Dream, what does that sound like? I find that interesting as well. I'll put that in my wish list. Anyway, oh, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Fellow Canadianites. Canadianites? Yeah, sure. Anyway, so you can do it that way. And then you can be like, this is my new favorite way to search for stuff on Bandcamp. I'm like, I don't know, Jason Murray. What has he got? It's like, he likes this band. What else does he like? All of these aesthetics look interesting. What does Val Hall sound like? Strangely interesting to me. Controlled Bleeding. He likes symphonic oriented things. Maybe it's all symphonic. Who knows? Noise Unit. Okay, so I'm not crazy about whatever his Jason Murray's collection, but he seems like a cool guy. What about Sabbath? What does Nothing sound like? It's a cool gazy kind of thing, shoegazy kind of thing. What about this? Not really my flavor. Kanga, Mogwai, Sabia. Sounds interesting. Kind of interesting. Page Lost. Interesting. Mesa. That's interesting. Yeah. So anyway, so that's my 3 methods of searching on Bandcamp. In case anyone is like kind of newer to Bandcamp and they're like, I don't really get Bandcamp. It's not like Spotify, that's for sure. But it's kind of dynamic. It's very arts driven, and there's a lot of different ways that you can go about discovery, go about connecting with other, artists and whatnot. So let's go to Like Rats. That's very cool track, Like Rats. But there's a community feed and whatnot, and you can comment on stuff that people have put in their community feed and whatnot. If you're an artist yourself, which I think most of you, a lot of you are, you can post stuff in your community feed. I'm, every now and again, I'm like, I'm going to post way more to my community feed, and then I don't, or I do, and then I fall off. But something that I really want to pay more attention to, and hopefully connect with more people through Bandcamp, because it's a place I really love being. There's so much creativity there. Not surprising. That's what it's all about. That's what it's for. Anyway, I'd love to know how you go about finding things on Bandcamp. It's like it's such a dynamic, interesting place, and I think there's probably a million different ways to go about experiencing it. And wow, a lot of comments already here. Didn't see that happening. I guess I was blabbering for 15 minutes. But quickly going into it, Thomas Powell is here. Of course, my brother must be here. And Kazuki says it's been a hot minute since I got to tune into a stream. That's correct. And we're very happy that you're here with us today. Kazuki Hiratani. Araka says hello to all. Marauder says it has come quick this time. And Geki Zip, I'm not Canadian, but I'll definitely I'll identify as Mr. Mister. Mr. Mister was like a hot band for a minute back in the 80s. Yeah, they were called Mr. Mister. I don't know if they were Canadian. Maybe they were. Jeremy Dirac, good to see you there. Marauder says, I don't know how Bunn flies this thing. It seems complex to do this show. It is complex to do this show. I actually filmed most of the setup today because I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, I have to set it up every time. I don't have like a YouTube studio or whatever. Like I don't have like a thing that's ready to go. I got to set it all up every single time. And that's probably why it looks a little bit different every single time. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Even though just a handful of us live seems to be a lot of follow-up views. Oh yeah. The channel, the Bandless channel, gets a reasonable amount of views for what it is. You know, it's just a live stream channel, and it's a pretty obscure topic like Bandcamp Friday, and it's kind of niche in that world. I don't know. It's cool. I'm happy that other people are able to enjoy it and get involved and all that kind of stuff. So that's cool. Kazuki says, Kazuki says, North American way of date and time arrangement still confuses me here and there. Oh, is it like you don't like the you prefer the 24-hour clock, like 2400 hours? So, you know, at 2015, whatever, like you think about it that way. Every time I get acclimatized to 24-hour clock or military time or whatever the heck you want to call it, metric time, every time I get acclimatized to it and like I'm like, okay, I got this, then I have no reason, like I fall off and I have no reason to follow it up, and I forget like what my mental system was to kind of know what time it was, because I often just think in terms of whatever this clock format is called. I don't know what it's called. Imperial time? I don't know. Here in New Zealand, it's date, month, year, or day, month, year. Right. Yeah, I run across that part often in terms of day, month, year, or month, day, year. It depends. I don't know if there's any convention here at all for that. I see it both ways all the time. Marauder, I have seen that format off and on. It makes logical sense. Tom Powell, no June. Bandcamp is wild. Sometimes I just go through and I find some really obscure stuff. Plus there are all those videos out there, but weird, creepy, and or obscure, unknown BC releases. Marauder, I've not hunted. I need to start that. Yeah, hunting for new music on Bandcamp is, I think, almost a religious experience. Like, I find so much amazing music that I never would have found through traditional channels. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm going to move along here. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to play a few tunes, and I'm going to come back to the chat. Just see if there's any quick questions. A few more faces. Cranky Dragon and Detriments and Cathedral Sound. How are you guys? I think those are all the new faces at the moment. Coming back to the chat and shortly. For those of you who've never been to a Bandless live scream, you've never been to a Bandless live stream before. It happens on the first Friday of every month. It correlates with Bandcamp Friday. Bandcamp Friday, for those who don't know, Bandcamp waives their fees and the artist takes all. And we don't do it for that fact. We do this for the fact that it's like an event, and it is a positive thing for artists that they take the full cut, and the payment processor, in this case it's PayPal. PayPal takes their percentage, but it's a minuscule percentage. I think it's 0.2%, something like that. My nose is very itchy right now, and I really want to like just get in there, but it's not appropriate. But la-di-da with Bandcamp Friday. So we celebrate Bandcamp Friday, and we take a look at, or we take a listen to samples of music from people within the community. And those communities are the Bandless community. If you're not a part of the Bandless community, I will, share that right now. Bandless. And let's invite people. Great. And 7 days? No, 7 days is far too long. We're going to do you got 1 hour. So this link will self-destruct in 1 hour. Copied. Great. So if you're not a part of the Bandless community, you can join it right now. And that's your invite link that I put in there. But so people who are part of the Bandless community and the Bunn community, I don't know if I have a community. I'm connected with people. I have friends and acquaintances on the internet. I suppose it's a community. I feel like it's just a bunch of pals. But I don't know. Semantics. So it's people from those worlds who are artists themselves, typically solo artists, meaning solo creators. I don't know what you want to call it. People who do everything themselves. It's not purely that. Like, if you are a duo or if you are a full band, that's cool too. We don't discriminate, but we tend to feature mostly solo creators, solo artists, full stack artists. And that's what I am. I'm not opposed to working with other people, but I work mostly by myself, and most of the people that we will listen to tonight do this as well. That means they play all the instruments, they write all the music, they record it all, they produce it all, they mix it all, they master it all, they do their own artwork, they do their own publishing, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's not always all of that, but that's where the focus is. I think you get it. I never really talk about this stuff, so I'm talking about it today. Try and get it out there. Get the concept out there. So we listen to music by those people that has been made in the last month. But if it's tracks, sometimes it's tracks from people from a year ago or 2 years ago. If we haven't played it before, we're happy to play it. So that's what's going on. And we only listen to samples, and the samples for about a minute. Some people submit tracks that are only a minute long, so we listen to the whole track. But we typically listen to 1 minute. Some tracks, if it's a longer track or a track that changes a lot, I might scrub through the track a little bit, kind of it's patchy and it's disruptive, but sometimes I want to get people to get a sense of what the track is, so you can make up your own mind. So I share all the links in the chat, and if you like something, you click through, listen to it after the stream in its entirety on your own time, or connect with the artist. You know, maybe you're not interested in it from a listening perspective. It's not that you want to buy it. Maybe you're like, this artist is amazing, I'd like to collaborate with them. Well, that's what this stream's about as well. It's all about connecting everything. So I digress. That is it for my description. And I'm going to move on with it. But I never really explain it, and then there's surprises along the way in the stream. Hopefully at this point, if people come into the stream and they're like, what's going on here? Maybe you guys can help them out in the chat. So we're going to get along to our first jam. And our first jam is a pal, a long-term veteran of the Bandless community and a long-time pal of the Bunn. And it is Mr. Marauder Music, aka the Cosman, aka the Tube Amp Daddy. I just made that one up right now. But we got some very stealthy text here. So what's going on with this track? First thing I can tell you, I've already read this, but it's a collaboration. And the Cosman doesn't do too many collaborations, but he did one for this one, vocalist collaboration. And then the Cos did the mixing and maximum mastering all himself, because he's hip like that. So let's give this a little bit of whirl. I'll share the link while we're listening. It's a lot less piratey than normal, but what we've learned about the Cosman is that he has a lot of different skills and a lot of different territories, a lot of different terrain that he likes to travel, and nice and heavy, nice and chunky sounding tunes. Very, very brutal vocals for the Cosman. I don't know if I've heard vocals that brutal on here before. I remember, I think he did Crown Camo, like a collab with Crown Camo vocalists. Am I mistaken or not mistaken? I don't know, but I can't remember if it was that heavy. But very brutal vocals, not very surprising for the Marauder Music. Excellent production. Very heavy on this one. Every now and then, the Marauder, the Cosman, hits us with a heavy one. So that's cool. Whoa, I hit my BRB ticker. You like that? I made that all myself. Be right back, be right back, be right back. Anyway, big fat fingers is what I got going on here. So I'm going to cue up the next one and bring the volume back up. We're doing a volume of minus 7 dB today. So this one here, brand new to the Bandless community. And artist name is Araxis. Don't know. Araxis is very new to me. So Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, which is cool. I always like, it seems like a lot of music from the Midwest there's so much talent in the Midwest, and I think a lot of people really don't know how to kind of it's not even that they don't know how. They don't have the motivation necessarily to push their stuff out of the Midwest. And it's too bad, because I think there's a ton of talent out there. It's all just bottled up. But let's take a listen to The Enemy Approaches by Araxis. Sci-fi flavors. I don't know. It does. It makes me think of a band from yesteryear called Soulstorm. It doesn't sound like Soulstorm, but it just like makes me think of that world of. There's not many people out there doing this sort of sci-fi. It's not really industrial. I think it even says here, sci-fi inspired and instrumental metal and industrial cybernetic influences. Cool. Yeah, there's just something very, like the artwork kind of shows you, like captures the vibe quite nicely. It's very kind of cold and desolate, but chonky and, it'd be like the weight of the universe. Pretty cool. Very cool. We're gonna hit one more, and then I'm gonna go back to the chat. Where's my control surface here? Did I put the link in there? I did. I put the link in there. So yeah, we're gonna do one more here, and then we're gonna chat it up, see what's going on in that chat, try and pick up where we left off. And my gain, got to set that gain back to 7.1. So question for Araxis, if you're in the chat. It seems as though it's all, whatchamacallit, all solo-oriented stuff. Introduction to a project that seeks to merge spacey ambience and crushing metal. Would like to know more. Do you produce everything yourself? What is the extent of the art? Like, is it a single artist's work and effort, or do you rely on anyone for anything at all? Yeah, we'd love to know. It's, not, there's no judgment or anything. It's just a curiosity, because we like to know these things. All sounds created by Araxis. I'm guessing Araxis is only one person, but you never know. So moving along to the next jammer, we've got a hot track from Mr. Lamond. It's the Height Strangning Discord Challenge, March edition. Height Strangning is doing a lot of challenges. What is the details of this challenge? This is my submission for this month's Discord challenge over at Height Stranging Music. It's Philip over at Height Stranging. And for those of you who are not aware of Height Stranging Music, I would suggest giving it a little YouTube search. Guy is really smart. I did a little video collab with him maybe a year or two ago. Very refreshing frame of mind. This guy, very philosophical. The challenge was to write something not in 4/4, so I went with 7/8. That's a good amount of time. Good timing to use. Good amount of time. So here we go. Lamond. Lamond always has tasty tunes. Makes everything in Audacity. I always have to flex the Audacity power because, I think people need to know you don't need a crazy Pro Tools $1 million rig to make music. Lamond does it with Audacity. There's going to be a few Audacity people here today. Wow, what a cool groove. I was not expecting the bass 6 at the end there. That was awesome. It's always like Lamond stuff is always awesome. Not playing favorites or anything like that. It just very much a fan of Lamond's work. And I highly suggest checking out the rest of his catalog. Very interesting compositions, just very creative. And actually, he's got the Audacity Flex here. I think I mentioned this before. I'm not sure, but Audacity since 2018. Pretty amazing. So, back to the chat for a brief moment. Wow, chat is smashing. Just going back here, Moments Stretch and Frame says Mesa Close is one of my top 3 albums of. Oh, when I was looking at the sludge stuff on Bandcamp, yeah, you like that Mesa record? Amazing. Cranky Dragon, it's easier than trying to find stuff on SoundCloud. Yeah, SoundCloud, I don't understand why that even exists. It's such a weird platform. Detriment says, what's up, bros? Street Rat, loving the weekly bulletin. Oh, rad. I love writing it. I'm stoked that it's of interest to someone. The numbers are quite good on the weekly bulletin, so it's very surprising, but it's very good, and I'm very thankful, and yeah, stoked you dig it. Marauder saying, for some reason, 1300 sticks with me. I think it's... Oh, okay. Lunch is over. Right. 1300 hours. Right. Cranky Dragon loves some Voivod and went back and checked out some old Annihilator. Good Canadian stuff that still holds up. Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Voivod's amazing. Gorguts is amazing. There's so many unbelievable Canadian bands. It's not because I'm Canadian. They happen to be amazing, and they're from Canada. Anyway, Street Rat asks, Bandcamp a place for demos? Of course. If you want to post demos on Bandcamp, you can do that. I do that with my own. Whoa. Here we go. Oh, wait. There we go. So if we go here, bam, bottom right. So my personal Bandcamp page, that's what this is, like Bunn personal stuff. I have, Bandcamp pages for each of my projects. So if you go to Vens and you go there, you can also go to the Bandcamp page and check it out there, whatever. But it's all very convoluted, but just saying, I have official pages for my official releases, but this is my demo page. So this is where I share things before they're actually way before they're finished. It's my initial concept. They're truly demos, and I share them here, and then they end up coming out. I redo them, and they come out as an official EP or whatever, and I just share them as singles. When I first started this, if you go far enough back, I actually was posting EPs on here, and then at some point I was like, I think I need like an official Forens page and an official Vens page and all this kind of stuff. So you will find some of the original full EPs here. And I don't want to take them down because people have bought them and it's in their collections. And if you take it down, then it's no longer in their collection, and it's just not a cool thing to do. So I don't post full records here anymore. But it's a great place for demos. So to answer your question, yes, you can use it to post your demos. And really cool band. I'm gonna skip ahead here in the chat. Moment stretching from it close. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to catch up with here. Marauders answering for Street Rat. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna skip ahead because I'm way behind the chat. So let's change the camera here, and I'll queue up the next jam. And so Detriments, drum sound really pretty. Okay, I just want to get to like the tracks here. So about Marauders track, some chunky bass. I hear Tanny says 605 Detroit Metal City. Jeremy finds the guitar tone awesome. Nick Hill free bass patch. Oh, no way. Voz reminds me of Carcass. She is the vocalist for Marauders. I did not know. Marauders vocalist. Marauders vocalist is female and heavy vocal. I think that's just par for the course these days. The assumption that, women can't have like a rad heavy vocal. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Is it surprising? It's a weird it's a weird world because like you always assume when you hear a certain kind of vocal, you're like, oh, you're in your mind, you just hear it with a gender attached to it. But I don't know. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's just like programming. History has been that way for a long time. I don't know. Not an issue. Like I'm not trying to politicize this or anything like that. It's a curious thing. It's like interesting where the mind goes first, and what kind of assumptions you have. And cool, love the artwork. Da, da, da. Okay, great. And then going to folks are digging the Marauder jam. The Crown Camo vocals were also on the False God release, not on. I seem to remember a track in the past of Marauder music that had a vocalist on it, like one lone track. I could be wrong. I've listened to so many tracks, but I don't know. Marauder, let us know. So Araxis, welcome. Open hat, so nice. This would be sick with vocals. I thought Araxis sounded great without vocals. Sounds like the end of the world. Yes, it's very apocalyptic. This could definitely be a video game soundtrack for like a Doom type game or something. Yes, would be cool with vocals. Araxis, wish I could sing. It's supposed to be Alien Invasion soundtrack. Amazing. Alien Invasion. I'm so into the extraterrestrial topic. I'm just absolutely fascinated with it. Fascinated with it from this sort of apocalyptic kind of frame of mind, but also from like a utopian kind of frame of mind. I'm just interested in the whole thing. So yeah, I can really see the alien invasion, end of the world thing in that. Whatchamacallit? Flynn's ego. Man, Marauder says, this is so good. Le Mans jams always go hard. Drums sound real pretty rad. So yeah, well, he's a drummer and he usually uses like a kit to play his drums for the Le Mans track. And it's a trigger, like it's a MIDI kit, but I think it really helps the flow of the beats. And Alejandro, yo Kazu, he's saying. And Kazuki's saying Reaper since 2022, thanks to the Bunn. I don't know. I just think Reaper's like, it's very affordable. It's very great for collaborations because people it's easy to afford, but it's also not limited. It's like this hugely powerful DAW. I think it just checks a lot of boxes. I don't think by any means it's the best DAW in the world, but it's my favorite DAW for some of those reasons and many, many more. Yeah, I'm stoked that you like it, Kazuki. It's a great DAW. And Reaper Master Race. Bunn, are we going to get any new Vens soon? Yeah, I'm working on some new Vens. Thea and I were brainstorming about it just a couple days ago, maybe already like a week or two ago. But the next Vens release will also be a 4-song release. I'll probably release the the demos one track at a time. I'm not entirely sure if I will like instrumental demos before it all, the final thing comes out. I don't know if with Vans I'll continue doing that. I may or I may not. It's hard to say, but yeah, stuff is happening, but it's going to be another 4-song. And yeah, that's about all I can say about it. I don't want to give it all away. Anyhow, we're going to play some more tunes here. We got time. Not a ton of tracks today, but enough. So this one is coming to us from Rosalia, and Rosalia is a veteran in the Bandless world. Often very cinematic tracks with a lot of droning and noise elements and sound design. Often minimalistic. Don't know what we're in for today, but we're going to play it right now. We got our volume up. Good to go. I think this is my favorite Rosalia track yet to date. It is very, whatchamacallit, I don't know, it makes me think of the Midwest. Makes me think of, you know, dusk, feels as far as you can see at dusk, and maybe the future isn't looking so good. Like kind of comfortable but uncomfortable, you know, at the same time. Very cool. And let's go here. Bam. Yeah, favorite Rosalia track thus far. Queuing up the next one, getting the volume back up there. Going to do, I think, 3 or 4 again, and then go back to the chat. And we got some Deceived Feet Delete coming up here next. This is a 2-song EP. Blight the Way is the name of the EP, obviously. And we're going to play Blight, Chipper But Urgent. And this is... Oh, here we go. Can I highlight it? Yes. Oh, it doesn't help if I highlight it. It makes it worse, actually. Dreadful dissonance with a hardcore edge driven onwards by one man's disbelief at the world around him. Yes, I can relate to that. By far my favorite share from Deceived Defeat Delete yet. What a banger. Absolutely rude track. Very nice. And yeah, seems everyone else is enjoying it as well. Thomas Powell, it's very soothing. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. Very cool. So let's reset here real quick. Bam. Yeah, it was very loud. It was almost clipping the meters. Like a good, I don't know, 6 dB louder than anything else we've played. Some heavy duty mastering. Did I put it in the chat? I did. Great. So we are moving along here. I'll get back to the chat. I wish there was a better way to do this, like where I could keep up with the chat better, but you know, c'est la vie. This is how it goes. This track coming to us from our guy Darlington, Daryl Darlington from Queens, New York. New York man with a ripping plan. Another Audacity master. And Darlington's been doing this series of tracks where he's... I'm not sure if this is part of the same Voice of Reason. I think this is still part of his series. which I can never remember the name of the series. Devastation, D minor, da da da, original. Yeah, I can never remember the name of the series, but it's a series of a cartoon or something to this effect. And it's the soundtrack. So he's taking all the pieces of the soundtrack that show up and redoing them in his own way. Or I don't even know if he's really doing them much in terms of his own way. I think it's more as a study. Slightly in his own way, perhaps. You be the judge. Anyhow, they're pretty cool jams. Here we go. Almost missed it. I was trying to. I realized that I copied the wrong URL the first time, and I was struggling there. So something that I want to talk about with this track, he actually talks about it here. Really impressed myself with this one. The offbeat keys was the most tricky thing to figure out, but when I completed this track, I said, "Yo, I'm getting really good at this." Yeah. Definitely worth going back to and checking out what's happening with the keys and like, what is that phrasing? And I've heard this kind of playing before. I don't really know. I don't really understand the approach. Excuse me, in terms of like, what is it? It's not polyrhythm or polymeter or anything like that. It's a strange kind of syncopation. I don't know if somebody else understands it more, or if Darlington, if you're in there and you understand, or if Lamont's in there and you understand what's going on and you can break it down for us. Someone with some jazz school background stuff. I don't understand it. It's cool. It's super weird. And I've heard this approach before, but I've never been able to articulate asking someone like, what is this? Like, how do you go about this sort of phrasing? Very interesting. Anyway, very cool. Let's get back up to gain here and move on to the next one. This one is coming to us from Bag of Schmidt, and it's, for those who don't know Bag of Schmidt typically gives us tasty, brutal bits. And I believe this one is no exception. Coming to us from Flint, Michigan, Bag of Schmidt does everything himself, but does collaborations as well. And I believe he has an actual band, like a band where he goes and they rehearse together in a room. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but this is the impression that I'm under. So a person who is doing, very active in music, doing a lot of stuff, and this is their own compositions. So I will stop talking and we will listen to it. It's pretty awesome stuff. Very cool. Bandless Schmidt is it's a long track. There's a lot that happens in this track. I highly recommend exploring it because there's a lot of really good ideas. That blast section just before I faded the track out, the sort of guitar phrasing on that, I find it so awesome. It's just like, that's one of those parts where I'm like, I wish I would have came up with this. But Bandless Schmidt did, so it's off the table. Bunn has to come up with his own sort of own way of ripping it off without it sounding like a ripoff. Anyhow, Bandless Schmidt in the house. Do we have the thing in there? No. Darling, I almost did it again. Boo, I'm on a stream here. Great. So we got that. Resetting the gain. Where are we going? We're going to go to -7. Great. Bandless Schmidt really killing us here with the hammering riffs. Travels a lot of ground. He's not afraid of, the modern sort of pop kind of things or djenty bits or whatever. Just mixes up all the things that they like and puts it all into one thing. And some of the things are just so awesome. I don't even like pop music, but like that blast beat section is so good that I could just literally listen to that part over and over again. I'm not trying to big up, Bandless Schmidt specifically. I'm just saying I'm kind of wowed by that. Anyhow, next up we got some Sleepy Drifter, who is AKA Kazuki Hiratani from Napier, New Zealand. Did I say that English enough? Napier, New Zealand. Is like the most geeky English possible. So this is just a fast riff. Apparently, it's the 5th version of the fast riff, and it is a demo. Here we go. cool. It's the production is sounding really crisp, like more than ever, Mr. Sleepy Drifter. And yeah, I like those riffs. I like that feel. The drum feel is like really good. Drum sounds are really good. Really dig this little bit here. I'm curious to hear what it ends up becoming. Sounds like it's close to being a complete finished jam. Excellent work from Kazuki Hiratani and his Sleepy Drifter project. Kazuki has a lot of different projects. I highly suggest, digging into what he's doing, and he's open to collaborations, and he's a talented guy, and just a cool guy to know. So explore his page. Did I put it in there? I might not have put it in there yet. Bam. There it is. All right. Great. And where are we at? Bam, bam, bam. We only have... Oh, great. We got what? 2 more? We got 1 more. Great. We're going to do this one. Then we're going to just hang out in the chat for a little bit. So what's my cool gain setting? 7. Great. And whoa, I went to the thumbnail. Not sure how that happened. It's this. See how big these hands are? They just do things. They just hit things. Like, look at, compared to the mouse, where's the camera? So here's the mouse. Here's the hand. The hand just does stuff to the mouse. You know, like there's no chance for the mouse to do anything correctly. So we end up with the be right back. Anyway, last jam of this part of the stream, and then we're going to just hang out in the chat. I got nowhere to go, and I got some of these Beck's 0% beers. I love beers, but I don't like getting drunk. And some people might think that's preposterous, but I don't know. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But I'm going to probably grab another one of these 0% tasty boys and hang out in the chat and talk about stuff. There's some opinions I'd like to get from people. Not opinions, but thoughts on some matters that I'd like to get from some of you. So if you want to stick around and chat about stuff, that would be great. But this is our last jam of the night. Submitted to us from Kazuki Hiratani, but it is not Kazuki's jam. It is Say or Do, also from New Zealand. It's a pal of his. And he's like, yeah, check this out. So we're going to check it out. First jam. It's the last thing that came in. Actually, I have 1 more jam after this. I had a super late submission. But Awake by Say or Do.
They come and go like waves at an empty coast. When will we know what lies under the skin? And if we're looking at ignite the candle light behind our eyes, what will we find? We give and we take, and we bend till we break. We pick up the pieces and then throw them away. Oh. Experiencing reality for the first time again, 'cause everything looks different through a different lens.
pretty polished jam. I love that bass tone. It kind of sounds like there's maybe a sub octave kind of thing going on with it. It's so thick, but yeah, polished and catchy and cool. Was not really expecting. You know, what would I expect though? Like we don't play anything consistently here on the stream. It's always, you know, total chaos. So I got one more that I'm going to queue up here before we just hang out in the chatteroon, and it's going to be a good time. And queued up, volume, bam, 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 -7.1, great. And this is coming to us from Dr. Rapper, UK pal, someone that I came to know through the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group, I believe. This guy's into some cool bands. At least he's into, I shouldn't say cool bands. He's into stuff that I'm personally really identify with musically. So I tend to really respect his, whenever he shares music, like just shares like other people's music. I'm like, oh, if Rapper likes it, I'm probably going to like it. And it's usually the case. So this is a track that he submitted of a project that he was involved in quite some time ago, February 2024. Oh, okay. This was released only this year. So I got the impression this was a much older track, but it's not. It's very current. Widower, I love the name. Dark ambient drone noise piece, which will be included in the first Widower album. Okay. Let's see what it sounds like. It gets into a lot more as I'm cutting it out. I want to know what kind of fuzz is that. It sounds awesome. I love the description. Crushingly oppressive, cleansing, cathartic, and raw sludge doom drone noise from the UK. Perfect. Widower, amazing. Very excited to hear more from Widower. This is just like an opening kind of piece that they're using for the whole thing. Apparently, I'm pretty sure it's a full band, drums and everything. What are these images? Interesting. Yeah. Always curious to see what Mr. Rapper is doing. Gonna hang out in the chat. Did I put Widower in there? Whoa. Let's get in there. Here we go. Bam. Yeah. Jeremy Dirac says that tone is disgusting in the best way. Yeah. I'm like, what is it? What is it? A fuzz? It's got to be a fuzz, but like which fuzz? It's a very Velcro fuzz? Probably. Not sure. Like Velcro fuzzes, I think the ZVEX is considered a Velcro fuzz. For those who know Fairfield circuitry, they have a fuzz called the Unpleasant Surprise, and that's a Velcro fuzz, a very extreme Velcro fuzz. Maybe one of my favorite fuzzes of all times. It's just too expensive for me to buy. Because, yeah, the Bunn doesn't make a lot of money. But thanks, man. Too kind. Whatchamacallit? Loki reminds me of Hoobastank. For say or do. Yeah. The super lows. My favorite Bunn music recommendation was Mare. I listened to their EP and loved it. Oh, shoot, yeah. Mare is like the holy grail, man, of like that union of creativity, aesthetics, artisticness, raw brutality, sophistication. Like it's just like this intersection of all the perfect things, and the way they execute on it is just I don't even know. He's a friend of mine. He lives in Toronto. He lives just up the street. He's my music theory teacher. I haven't done a lesson for a little bit, but he's the guy I go to for that. But yeah, I've talked to him at length, but like I don't really understand. Like I don't even think they understand. Like he understands how he put that music together, to be honest. I think it was just a moment in time, lightning in a bottle. Okay, so this is what's happening. We're just going to hang out in the chat for a bit. I have some questions, some curiosities that I'd like to get your guys' opinions on. And also, I'm doing another stream tomorrow, and we could talk about that for a brief moment. And I'd like to hear, what you guys got going on for the summer. We're going into the summer. Is anybody going on tour? What's going on that way? But before we do that, I'm going to grab another 0% backs. Grab some zeros if you got them. Grab some full, 10% crest if you got it. Grab a milk. Do you say milk or milk? I say milk because it doesn't make sense. When we were kids, everyone around us called it milk. I was like, isn't it spelt with an I? And they're like, huh? They didn't even know what I was talking about. I'm like, you're saying milk. You're saying it with an E. The stickler that I am. Anyhow, I'm going to be right back because I got to run up to the fridge and back. There we go. We got it. All right. We can put the chat big and right where I can see it. Because normally it's very hidden because I have a big screen, but still to do this, it's not quite the best way to do live streams is to have two screens. And I have an ultra wide screen, and it definitely is better than just having one normal screen, but still very crowded and it's easy to miss things. Anyhow, Detriment says, hey, Bunn, maybe I can give you a Detriment's tune for next month. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely send me tunes. It's great. Like now people just send me tunes the week leading up to Bandcamp Friday. It's a given that I'm going to be doing the stream. If for some reason I'm not going to do the stream, you'll probably know in advance. But if you don't really hear anything, that means the stream is on, because we do it every Bandcamp Friday. In June, there is no Bandcamp Friday. There's Juneteenth. But usually we do something. We either do an unofficial Bandcamp Friday stream, same thing, first Friday of the month, or we just do a stream on Juneteenth, which all of the revenue goes to a sort of social justice thing, like, for lesser fortunate people. So that's cool too. So Bandcamp Friday is always on, so send me the tracks, or send me the links, I guess. Don't send me the tracks. Do not send me MP3s. My email is Scott at, my typing is amazing, thebunn.ca. Don't send it too early. Sometimes people send me stuff like, a couple weeks out, and then I get a lot of mail, and it's just hard. It's hard to keep track of. So, send me a Bandcamp link, a message and a Bandcamp link a day or two before, a couple days before Bandcamp Friday, and I'll definitely put it up there. I'll definitely share it. I have no reservation sharing anything that anybody makes, as long as it's not hateful content. I'm in. As long as it's art and it's your own work, that's great. If you're posting other people's art and calling it your own, that, hopefully you're not doing that. I don't think anybody's doing that, but you never know these days. But yeah, send me the stuff and I'd be happy to play it. So Witter's track sounded like a lawnmower transforming into the War of the Worlds. Yeah. Reference. Totally. I don't even understand that track. Like, it's not a track. It's sort of like I guess it is a track, but it's an intro piece for their record, or a segue piece for their record that they're working on. But still, yeah, it's got all kinds of vicious and raw going on. And Hiratani, I just wish I could find a vinyl copy of their EP. Kazuki, you're talking about Mare. There's vinyl copies laying around. Tyler might still have a few. You can email him on the Mare Bandcamp, because for the longest time, Hydra Head Records had control of the Mare Bandcamp page, but now for the last year or maybe even 2 years, Tyler has taken control over it. And so if you send a message through that, Tyler will get it himself, and you can just ask him. It's like, hey man, do you have any vinyls left? I know he has CDs for sure. I don't know what he has for vinyls, but he might have some, like personal copies or whatever, that he'd be happy to sell. Darlington, heavier than that earthquake in Jersey. Yeah. Rough riffs. What about milk? Or milk? Yeah, what's up with the pronunciation of milk? I guess it's the same thing all around the world with all words, really. Like when you start thinking about English dialect countries and like the interesting, interesting pronunciations, like the variations on pronunciations and adding and taking away various vowels or consonants, in terms of like the nature of what makes up the accent, or the habits within the accents is very interesting. I'm sure it happens in every language. It's just, I guess English is so widely spoken that maybe there's more variation in it that way. I would imagine similar with Spanish. Like Spanish is very widely spoken, maybe even more widely spoken than English, or close to more wide, like similar in numbers. So there must be a lot of variation in dialect and regional differences, regional accents of Spanish. But whatchamacallit, I've been watching a stream on my commute home. This is fun. Oh, really? Where are you commuting from, Thomas Powell? Now that I'm such an expert on Vancouver, what region to what area? What area are you going? Are you going from the water on up to the, or I guess on south? I don't know. Where are you going? What area to what area? Whatchamacallit? Self-inflatable. Be right here. What? Is that what it says? On be right back? What does my BRB say? Be right back. Be right back. Be right here. Be right back. I don't know. I don't know what that's in reference to, Mr. Self-Inflatable. Whatchamacallit? Da 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 da. Bandless. Oh, here we go. Shoot, I missed it. Oh, Development of Void. How are you? Where's your track? Aren't you supposed to have a track for me this month? I've been waiting. I've been waiting for the follow-up to that last banger. If anyone hasn't heard Development of a Void's banger, I highly suggest clicking through to his channel. Do you have it on your YouTube channel? I don't really know. Can I look up? I wonder. Whoa. How can I pin? No, I don't know how I can go to your channel while in the stream from clicking through your username. Not sure. It doesn't seem to give me the option. Anyway, Development of a Void, DOA. What's up with your new track? I'd like to know. How's it going? What are the roadblocks that you're facing? I don't know. Kazuki, whole milk pronunciation in the chat is just a huge piss take. I love it. Mulk. Yeah, I've heard that one. Mulk. Want some mulk? Yeah, I don't know. Something about drinking milk. Just the idea of it. I don't know. When you really conceptualize it, you're like, oh, that's pretty gross. Thomas Powell, Bowen Island, back to my hood. Oh shoot, you're really commuting. You got to take the ferry and everything. Bowen Island is a beaut. That whole zone is a beaut. It's probably like not the funnest commute, but must be pretty nice working out there. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, Thomas Powell lives in Vancouver, which is where I was the whole month of February, and I hung out with him while I was there. And whatchamacallit, he used to live here. He's my baritone brother. He and I, when he was living here, he and I both had mashaks at the same time, and we were kind of like early adopters in the baritone for heavy music world of Toronto, 6-string baritoners. So, but he's back in Vancouver, and he just spent the day out in Bowen Island, which is this beautiful place out near the Sunshine Coast. Self-inflatable, I was just being dumb. You're never dumb. You're always like extra intelligent. Self-inflatable. You know, he's very sophisticated. All right, so question time. Speaking of I was talking to Self-Inflatable about this earlier today. And my question to you guys is, those of you who are guitar players, which is probably everybody, seems, what is your preference for height, like action height, action of strings? And what would you call too high? To me, personally, I think 2 millimeters or higher is far too high. And for me, I can hear the tuning, the sharping, like when you bend the string, because the string is so high, you have to bend the string to actually fret. And a lot of notes are very out of tune. So I don't like 2 millimeters or higher for that reason. And also, the biggest reason is 1.5 millimeter action is very pleasant to play. And my opinion also is, if you can't set up a guitar for 1.5 millimeter action, something's wrong with the guitar, and it's a defective guitar. It should be able to be you should be able to set up any guitar for 1.5 millimeter action at the 12th fret, and it be playable. Maybe it'll buzz a little bit, but like natural buzz, not fretting out or whatever. So yeah, where are you guys at? Where's your thoughts on action? Because the topic came up earlier today with my buddy Self-Inflatable, Artie, and you know, he was having some problems with the guitar, and the shop themselves astonishingly told him that factory spec was 2.38 millimeters. And I'm like, 2.38 millimeters? I'm like, I would throw that guitar in the garbage. I'm like, what? Or if you're playing slide, yeah, sure. But, but like, just that's your factory spec? I'm like, what's wrong with the guitar that you can't get it lower? Sounds insane to me. So, yeah, where are you guys at on the action? How high is too high? How low is too low? I understand that 1.5 is a little low for some people, because if you like to dig in, I like to dig in. I don't find it a problem. Yeah. Goes Nar Antlers. I'm working on like a Terror Goes pop thing, and working on riffing in Hungarian minor. I want to hear that. Amazing. Nar Antler says super low, it should buzz just a little bit. Yeah, I agree. Like, you know, if it doesn't have to buzz, like I have a Gibson The Paul here, and it has like 1.25 millimeter action, and it doesn't buzz at all. It sounds amazing, which is abnormal for a Les Paul. I understand that, but yeah, like it should be possible. 1.25 is unbelievably low. But Rough Riff says, like, I look at as low as you can go without a ton of buzz. Yeah. A ton of buzz. Like, if there's a ton of buzz, there's a problem with the guitar. You need your frets done, or there's a warp in the neck. And Well, Self-Inflatable says, well, they didn't say what the factory spec was, but they said factory spec. But I looked up what Gibson factory spec was, and it's 2.38 millimeters, which is, I don't know. Like I say, if I had a guitar and the lowest it could go was 2.38 millimeters, I would throw it in the garbage. I wouldn't throw it in the garbage. I'd go back to the store and be like, fucking give me another guitar. This is stupid. This thing's broken. Makes me mad thinking about it. Kazuki Hirotani's got his PRS 277 chilling at 1.4 millimeter. Yeah. That's sick. That's like legato master. Do you have it? What do you have it tuned to, Kazuki, right now? Like what's your tuning and your string gauge currently? I'm pretty sure you have it tuned a little bit higher with lighter strings at the moment. Yeah. Moment stretched and framed. I like low action for playability, but there's some extra resonance with a bit higher action that gets lost, I found. Yeah, in resonance, I guess, just like overall, I don't understand. Like if it's buzzing a lot, then yeah, you'll lose some resonance for sure. But if it's not buzzing, then it should be the same. Otherwise, there might be something wrong with the guitar. I played actually, what's it called? Rough Riffs. Rough Riffs was here, and he brought, what was that, Balagar? He got a Balagar headless guitar. And it has nothing to do with it being headless, but that guitar was set up unbelievably. And it was probably 1.5 or lower, maybe even 1.4 millimeter. It was very, very low action and zero buzz, zero buzz. Amazing, like really, really, really great tone. So I think one of the things about like the myth about higher action, I don't, it's hard to say without making a big comparison, but I think the idea with higher action equals better tone usually has more to do with shitty frets, or a slightly askew neck, because it shouldn't, it should only fret out, or it should only buzz if you hit really hard. Like if you hit like an animal. I like to hit like an animal, so my stuff buzzes a little bit. But if I play like a normal human being, my guitars don't buzz. But if the guitar is really well set up, it should barely buzz if you hit it even hard, and the tone should be really good. But I don't know. Whatchamacallit? Moments, not sure on specific millimeter. Right. Yeah. Well, I think, how do you do it? You go, to convert it, you got to go, you divide the fraction, so you get the decimal, and then you multiply the decimal times 25, and you get the millimeters. I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not too good on converting fractions. If you happen to know the fraction, that is. So 2.338 millimeters is 6/64 of an inch. But I'm Canadian, so the dominant language here in terms of measurements across the board is metric. But because we're neighbors with the United States, we have a pretty good knowledge of most imperial measurements. But like when it gets into the fractions of imperial, I'm not very good with the conversions of fractions to metric or vice versa. So sorry. Sorry about that. I don't know how many people even keep the factory setup when they buy a guitar. I usually get it set up right away. Yeah, Kazuki, I think everybody that I know, everyone I've ever known, and everybody that I currently know, in terms of people that I know that I've actually worked with in real life, that's the case for them. And I don't know anyone who likes high action other than slide players. Slide players are like, yeah, I need it. I need the slide to not hit the frets. That makes sense to me. If I could find coated baritone strings that were balanced tension, I had a wound G string, that would be grand. What about Stringjoy strings? They do a coated set. Although I think getting Stringjoy shipped to New Zealand wouldn't be worth it monetarily. So PRS is in B standard with 13 to 59 elixirs. Ditch the 10 gauge from the 7-string elixir set and keep that as a spare for my Strat. Right. Yeah, that's a pretty light gauge. You should be able to get that nice and low. Pretty light gauge and pretty easy to set up for that tuning, especially 27.75 inches in scale. Get it nice and low. Thomas Powell, just like my love life, low action. Kazing! Yeah, I don't know. What's up with 2.38 millimeter factory spec? Like, that's what apparently what Gibson specifies for the guitars to go. No wonder they always sound out of tune. It's such a weird thing. It's so high. Instead of a woman, my guitar, Kazuki saying, get plenty of action every day being played from dawn till dusk, and I'm a heavy-handed player. Got to dig in for those chugs. That's right. Becca Schmidt just got home. Thanks for sharing my song. If you did, totally did. Can't wait to go back through the stream. Yeah, those blast sections, that guitar riff over the blast section, Mr. Schmidt, it's a hot riff. Just saying. Jeremy, heading out for the night. Cheers. Looking forward to more tunes on the next one. Yeah, Jeremy, you got some tunes to submit on the next one? Can't wait for what you've got cooking up next. Stringjoy have coated orbiter strings, but max string gauge is 12 to 56 with a plain third. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a full fail right there. What's up with plain third? Like a 12 set with a plain third. Plain third, that big, that thick. The thing about plain strings is they don't even have to get very thick. But as soon as they get slightly thick, they sound so weird. Have you ever played like a heavy set with a plain third? Like, let's say a 12 or a 13 set with a plain third. It's like the G string just sounds like it doesn't belong in the set. You're like, what's up with this string? Like it rings differently. It's kind of dead. It has no sustain. The overtones are like, crushed. It's pretty weird. Rough Riff. Stringjoy doesn't have baritone length coated strings from my understanding. They at least don't do gauges larger than 56 or for their orbiter strings. Right. Yeah. Stringjoy, they're a tiny company. They're pretty interesting. I was talking to Skip of Callium strings, and just like talking about like the cost of carrying string winding equipment, the cost of getting into it. like just buying one string winder, like it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a huge industrial machine. Just moving it is very expensive. A lot of the price of a string winding machine is the cartage, the specialty logistics to move it from the manufacturer, or if you bought it used, from one place to another. They're giant cast iron industrial things. And then there's the computer system to monitor the winding parameters and whatnot. And there's a certain amount that you can do by hand, like in terms of feeding the wind. But yeah, I think when you're doing a big volume of strings, doing it all by hand isn't maybe the best idea. But yeah, Stringjoy, would have challenges in terms of scaling that business, because you need to have enough business to afford to scale it up and cover that investment of not only new string winding equipment, but also training and maintaining the labor to run that equipment. So if your volume goes up and your equipment goes up, your operating, your personnel also has to go up. And then you have to think about, okay, well, we're busier. Are we busier and it's going to maintain, and we're going to be able to kind of like push that business even further and have enough volume, do enough marketing, and like maintain a relevancy and be able to maintain all that cost. It's very hard to scale up a string business. And I think what a lot of companies do now is they farm it out to an OEM, like a company, established string winding company that has, let's say, anywhere from 5 to 10 machines, and you can give them, you can design a string spec and give it to them, and they'll wind however many batches for you and all that kind of stuff, and you can take care of the packaging and all that kind of stuff yourself. But yeah, the string winding game, it's a tough one, and Stringjoy is in an interesting spot because they're like kind of big, but they're still kind of really small. So for them to scale up their business and their production for a specialty item like coated strings, like coated strings are one of those things that a lot of people are really loud about. They're like, yeah, we want coated strings, coated strings, coated strings. But in the reality of it, very few people play coated strings. And in terms of my personal friend group, I would say that most of them are not interested in coated strings. And a lot of it has to do with like the feel of them. So in the traditional elixir world, like most people I know that don't like elixirs is not because the strings don't function or whatever. They do what they say and all that, but it's the feel of them. They're like, they feel, I don't know, greasy. They feel different, and people don't like it. Also with elixirs, it's hard to get the gauge set that you really want, depending on, whatever your weirdo specifications are. Like a lot of my friends or a lot of people that I know are really specific about their string sets. So yeah, it's a tough world, man. It's a tough go in the string world. So Elixir is probably very, presumably very cautious for very good reason in terms of expanding their offering in the coated string world, because they're like, we don't want to get stuck with a bunch of dead inventory, stuff that nobody's really that interested in. Take a big risk, and it's like only 5 people who are yelling on the internet actually buy them, but they need like 500 people to buy or 5,000 people to buy to make it worth doing the batch type of thing. So these are the kind of difficulties that these companies are faced with, which is interesting. Kazuki's saying he's played plain 24s and 26s and they're horrible. Yeah. It's like as soon as you get, I think the tipping point for me is like 17 or something like that. There's a certain number, like 16 or 17. If you suddenly you go over that and like a plain string just sounds weird. It sounds dead. It feels horrible to play. It's just too thick. So yeah. 24s and 26s, that's so thick for a plain string. I have a plain .22 on and it sucks. Darlington. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually kind of funny. It's comical, like how bad a thick plain string is. It'd be interesting to play a guitar like that's only plain strings, like really, really thick. I don't know if you'd even be able to wind, like, let's say, a 56 or a 68. Like for G, I use a 68. I don't know if it was a plain string, totally solid, would you even be able to wind it? I don't know. What would it sound like? It probably wouldn't have any tone at all. It'd probably be just dead. Rough Riffs, I keep asking String Joy when they'll baritone orbiters. Hopefully, if enough people ask, they'll prioritize it. Yeah, I think that's the exact challenge right there. It's like I personally am never going to play coated strings of any kind. For a couple reasons. Like, I have the benefit that my hands don't seem to affect strings too quickly. Like I get quite a bit of mileage out of strings. If I'm recording final takes a lot, I'll change strings often. And if I'm, say, gigging a lot, which I'm not currently, but in that case, then I'll also change strings pretty often. But I have enough guitars that I can always kind of pick up a guitar that has fresher strings on it and kind of rotate them that way. And I'm very thankful to be fortunate that way. But yeah, also like I seem to get a lot more mileage than some people in terms of the string tone. I do have a few guitars right now that I am playing that are pretty dead. In the past, I used to change my strings like, every 2 weeks kind of thing. It got too expensive for, like, I was changing them just because I wanted to hear it. Like I just wanted the sound, but I'm like, I'm not recording final takes. I should just stomach the deader sound for a little bit longer. But with the coated strings, I find they just sound kind of dead already a little bit. They sound halfway between dead and totally lively. Like, I don't know, like they've been on the guitar for like a week or whatever. There's that and the feeling. Some of the newer coding technology, they've managed to get around the feeling. But then, I don't know. I just don't play coated strings. And stock pickups in the 277 are okay, but leave a lot to be desired. I guess that's how it is when they are designed to be general purpose pickups to kind of work anywhere. Yeah, I do find something about the SE line of pickups, like all the SEs I've ever played, the pickups sound okay, but they have a deadness to them. Like the top end is not lively. There's no snappiness to them at all, or richness in the richness of the harmonics is missing, like completely missing, which is interesting because that seems like a not PRS thing. It seems like that's something that PRS would prioritize, like that they'd be like, this is important. We need to make sure that all of our guitars have that PRS ringing kind of sound, right? But yeah, the SE pickups are usually pretty dead sounding. And I find like they're not horrible. Like they're not, I've definitely heard worse, but they're surprisingly dead for the company that PRS is, for the priorities that PRS has. Interesting. Dayton, Kazuki, rough riffs, self-inflatable. That was the Epiphone spec I found. Not sure if Gibson would be the same. Yeah, the Gibson spec, that's what I found for the factory Gibson spec, in terms of you can find manuals and whatnot for setup, like setup manuals. And they recommend a 2.38 millimeter spec. And I'm just like, ooh. It's horrific. And Gibson's is apparently 5.64. I guess it changes from year to year, or whoever owns Gibson at the time. Yeah, I found like a actual setup manual on the internet, like a PDF download. And self-inflatable heavy playing third just feels like wire. Yeah, because that's what it is. Imagine a super thick, like chugging on, a 72 piece of wire. I don't think it would make sound. I think it would just go thud, thud, thud. Here we go. Reed Ingle, what are you doing? What are you saying in there, man? Good to see you. Hey, everyone, checking in while on my 15-minute break at work. What are you doing working at this hour? Maybe you're working in an area where, well, I don't know. I guess people work around the clock around this world. That's just the way it goes. I hope the shift is going well. My dream is stainless steel baritone strings. Yeah, well, you can get stainless steel strings from, I'm pretty sure from Callium. I think they'll do stainless steel in any length you need, in any format that you need. Pretty sure. I don't know. I'll have to double check. I'll send Skip an email and find out. Rough Riffs, take care, everyone. May the riffs and good vibes flow. Yes, sir. Be well. And, sleep in Riffland. Riffland Wonderland. Do they make really thin steel bass strings? Could be fun to put on a baritone. Might just sound like a bass, though. So, once again, Callium makes really weird sets of strings. And the only thing I don't know, I'm going to sneeze. I can feel it. Excuse me. Holy moly. Sorry about that, everybody. But so Callium makes these or makes strings to any spec. They'll make custom, custom gauges and custom varieties of materials to within reason. Like, I don't think you can get hybrids. They have a line of hybrid strings that is multiple, like different materials in one string, a different type of core, different kind of, and maybe two different kinds of wrap material. I'm not exactly sure on the specifications, but they do some weird stuff. But in terms of their custom department, from what I understand, they do like extremely light bass strings and extremely heavy guitar strings. But I don't know if that's still on the table. Like, their website offerings have changed a few times in the last few years, so they may have moved some things out of production or whatever. So you'd have to check, but that's where I'd check first, because they do weird stuff that's just what they do. That's what their whole thing is. Like, you need weird strings, we do weird strings. And the interesting thing about Callium strings is both the nickel wound strings and the stainless steel strings. Like, a lot of people will go, oh, I want stainless steel strings because they're a lot brighter. Well, Callium strings are just way brighter in general. Like, even if you go with the I keep wanting to say maple, but it's not maple, it's nickel. Maple strings, everybody. It's a new technology. But yeah, there's something's up with Callium strings. They are very bright, like in an extremely present way, or not present way. They are present, but in a very pleasant way. They're very smooth, very harmonically rich strings. I don't know what it is that makes their strings sound as fantastic as they do, but yeah, I've had both. I use them on my dingwall, and on my dingwall right now I have the stainless steel strings, but I've gone back and forth, and of course the stainless steel strings stay brighter for much longer, like really a very long time, like way longer than even coated strings. It's insane. But I've had their why do I want to say maple all the time? Nickel. I've had their nickel strings on there as well, and didn't last as long, but surprisingly sounded fresh and new, and you know, that bass string sound that you want. So I imagine with their lighter gauge strings it would be similar. Although I've never used their lighter gauge stuff. I've always just used Callium strings for the dingwall, which is pretty heavy strings. And rough riffs. Yeah, I also wait for final takes to swap new string sets. Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten more economical in my older age, and it's just the way to do it. Like, no, there's no point in just throwing strings in the garbage, because that's the unfortunate truth of guitar strings. Like, it's unfortunate that it all becomes landfill. I don't know what the solution to that is. I wish there was a solution that you could recycle strings or something. I'm sure they're recyclable. The challenge would be that you'd have to unwrap them, because it's always a variety of materials. Like, the core is usually carbon steel, and then the overwrap is either maple or stainless steel, or a combination of the two, or some other material, because there's lots of other string options out there. So how would you recycle those materials without first separating them? But I wish we didn't have to go through them as often. That would be great. Reed Engel says, SE pickups seem dark to me, but the neck does sound good split. Yeah, I've never tried it in the split setup. I'm sure it is. Like I say, like, the pickups, they don't sound terrible. They just don't have that, like, when you play a PRS USA guitar, their humbuckers are really lively. The humbuckers have like a lot of brightness to them, and they're really pleasant guitars. You know, regardless of what people think about the style of Paul Reed Smith guitars, like, it's a very divided audience that way. And whatever, like, if you don't like the way they look, great. I don't like the way PRS guitars look, but you know, I can't deny they're incredible guitars. Like, the USA made guitars are incredible. And like, the electronics are incredible. The lutherie is incredible. Everything about them, you play them and you're just like, wow, this guitar is really alive. It's really rich sounding. And it's sort of their brand. So it surprises me that they haven't tried to figure out a way to kind of bring part of that experience into the SE line, because I think they do, like in terms of the PRS quality thing, like the feel of playing at a PRS and all of that, I think they capture that in the SEs fully. But I don't think it translates in the sound department quite the same. I don't know. I bought some humbucker size P90s, Mr. Glenn's Black Sands, to chuck in my PRS when I get her another setup. I have my wiring organized with my tech to wire the coil split to combine both P90s into a humbucker. Yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be really fat, probably. Reed works at the hospital. Yeah, the hospital is 247. I used to also work at a hospital, Reed Ingle, in my much younger life. I wasn't really that young, I guess. I would think I was in my early 30s. No, I wasn't. My late 20s. My late 20s, I worked at a hospital. And yeah, so I know that drill. I know that working overnight. I did the overnight shift, and it was pretty tough. I never really adapted to it. So kudos to you for making it work, making it happen. Self-inflatable. I remember being poor and buying those strings with like a 20 gauge plain string. I was just sad until I could get a new set. Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, I remember, and I remember buying a bunch of Ernie Ball strings that were on sale at Long and McQuaid. And I don't know why, like, I feel like I was old enough at the time to know the difference, but I don't know. I guess I just misread the labels or something, but they were on sale and they were like $2 a pack or $3 a pack. And I'm pretty sure they were like really early versions of Not Even Slinkies or something like that, or beefy Slinkies. I don't know. They had a weird name, and they had packaging that I've never seen again. Like, it was only this one time, but they were super cheap. I was like, I'll buy these. And they ended all being like super heavy strings. I think they were all 13s. And at the time I was playing in a band called The Smile, and which became Authors, changed the name. And I know there's a current band called The Smile that's kind of popular. But I had a band called The Smile a long time ago. It was like crazy, mathy, post-punk, post-hardcore kind of stuff. Anyway. But yeah, I bought all these strings for like very cheap, but they were all like super heavy. And I only realized once I took them out of the pack and whatever, and it was a liquidation sale item, so you couldn't return them anyway. And yeah, the thirds were unwound and so thick that they just went plunk, plunk, plunk. They had no sustain to them at all. And I was trying to use them in standard tuning. I'm like, I don't know, I'll try these strings. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time. And I was just like, I thought it was a big score because I had like 10 packs of strings for like, $20 or something like that. It was a lot of sadness until I could replace them. Thankfully, I was able to replace them like within a couple weeks, but I wasn't able to do it within a couple days. PDFs are the truth, self-inflatable. I don't know if anybody else knows that. Like, if you find a PDF on the internet, it's guaranteed to be the truth because it's a PDF. Flame maple strings for me only. I'm a lawyer. Yeah. Lawyers love flame maple. Like flame anything, It's like it's interesting how guitars, like guitar finishes, like the seemingly, like the finishes that people seem to go wild about of guitars on the internet. This is not in real life. Like, I don't know anyone in real life that seems to be this way. But on the internet, it seems like people like these outrageous, crazy finishes. And I'm like, they're looks that you would never, that you can't find anywhere else in life. And I'm just like, huh, of all things, like these macho guitar things with these like crazy translucent this and this like flaming, on fire kind of look. And then inlays that are, a 12 step story, like following a vine up to Peter and the Jack in the Box, or I don't know. It's super weird, but yeah, I think lawyers seem to love it. Lawyers and doctors are like, I got money now, and I'm going to show the world with a guitar, with really wild inlays and a really crazy finish. People are going to know that I'm a lawyer. It's pretty weird. I don't know. I feel like, you just can't beat rock and roll guitars. Like, just some dumb finish that you don't care if you nick it up because you play guitar a lot. You play a lot, you gig a lot, and it's going to get nicked up. And it's just a dumb finish. It's black or white or wood or cherry. Like, something dumb. I don't know. Finishes. It's kind of funny. Flame maple strings. That's so funny. Reed Engel, I'm moving from Wisconsin to Yukon in July. Hopefully there will be a hospital gig for me way up there. There are definitely hospitals up there. Yukon specifically, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, Alaska. Is Yukon in the Alaska? In Alaska? I'm actually, my geography is failing me right now. I got to look it up. Oh, yeah. Yukon is Canada. Oh, interesting. So you're going from Wisconsin to Yukon, Canada? I don't even know my own country. I don't think about the territories or anything north of Canada too often. But yeah, Whitehorse is a pretty big city. Where are you going in Yukon? When I say pretty big city, I think it's like, 20,000 people, something like that. Let's see. What's the Whitehorse population? It has, I know that people do pretty normal things there. I know that there's people who skateboard up there. So I've heard. Bam, population. Yeah, 25,000. That's a city. Not a big city, but it's a city. It's not a town, or it's a really big town. But I don't know. To Whitehorse. Oh, sweet. Yeah, it's a beautiful city. So, how did you end up getting a gig in Whitehorse, or what is it that's taking you to Canada? Self-inflatable black limba with PRS birds etched into them for my bass strings. Black limba bass strings, amazing, with inlays. I want inlays on my strings. I want inlays on my picks. I want purple heart chords. I want coily cables that are with inlays made out of purple heart and flame maple. And Kazuki, authors is totally sick. Same with Horse Lover. So glad Vens exists. It's like the next evolution of Horse Lover, but with more grind, and it's rad. Oh, interesting. It happened after Horse Lover. And it happened, I think, kind of as a result of Horse Lover. I don't know if I would have ended up doing Vens at all if I hadn't done Horse Lover. In a way, never really thought about it before, but like now that I think about it, I think that's probably kind of accurate. My bass player came to rehearsal after doing 4 surgeries and writing parts for a new song, and he killed it. Huge respect for people in the medical field. Yeah. If you're doing that kind of stuff, that's pretty insane. You're operating on people. Like I'm gonna cut this person open and I'm going to fix their knee. My mom had both of her hips replaced, and the technology improved so much from one year to the next. She got her hips replaced like 1 year after another, about the same time of year. So like almost exactly 12 months apart. But the first surgery was really impressive, and she healed really quickly. She was walking within, I think, days, within the end of the week type of thing. She was able to, we were there helping her and whatnot. And I think within a week she was able to take care of herself, and we didn't have to be there anymore. But the second hip replacement was insane. It was literally, she was walking, probably working too, but she was walking, I think, within 2 days or 3 days maximum. And the second surgery was done entirely with robots, like lasers and robots. And the way they sealed her up and everything, like she has almost no scar from it, and really unbelievable. Like just thinking about people working in healthcare, it's like, I'm going to fix you. I'm going to cut you open and I'm going to fix you. It's insane. Oh my God. Kasuki Hiratani, wood cables sound like a major fire hazard. No. Trust me, the tone is way better. Like maple cables versus mahogany cables, brighter tone. Reed Engel says, my wife is a great psychologist and was offered a job. We're looking to get away from crazy American style fascism before it gets too bad. It's, I'm not going to get into the political conversation specifically, but I will say it's pretty nervous watching what's going on in the United States. It's a nervous kind of thing, and it's having a big impact on small groups here in Canada, like ultra extremist kind of groups. There's not too many of them. Hopefully it doesn't gain a lot of ground, but it does exist in the same way that it exists over there, just much smaller. But it's all motivated by what's going on over there. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's unfortunate because I think the United States has incredible potential as a place in terms of its intellectual might. A lot of smart people there, a lot of ambition there, like brought a lot of interesting innovation and culture to the world already. And it'd be nice if that continued. Yeah. I hope it works out for you guys, and I think you're gonna love Whitehorse. It's still wooded, and you're close to the mountains, So it's going to be a similar experience, it seems, based on what I'm looking at here, to BC. You know, I was just in BC and it was unbelievable. So beautiful there. Kazuki, Great White would attest to that egg cartons as soundproofing have insane tone, dude. Wouldn't recommend. Yeah. There's so many funny things in music. Just like, you know, all the tone arguments. I love those Jim Lil. I don't know. Do you guys watch Jim Lil's channel? He does all the tests, like where does the tone come from type videos. And I find them, they're not necessarily scientific, but they're very deeply, he does deep testing. Deep enough that I feel his results are conclusive without contest. You know, what are you going to do to, you know, prove it otherwise? I do think there's anomalous things that happen with tone and guitars, tone and instruments in general, especially instruments made out of wood. I think wood is an anomalous material in that, you know, the grain, you'll never get two pieces of wood with the same kind of grain pattern or same kind of density across its gradation. Like the gradient of the density according to the grain. I don't know if that's making sense, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. Like moisture content in the air, the effectiveness of the seal on the wood or lack thereof, the temperature variations and their impact on the fit of the guitar, like how tight the joints are or how tight the joints aren't, and all of these sorts of things. I think they impact the acoustic performance, not the acoustic performance, but the resonant of performance of the instrument, and maybe can influence how much vibration occurs in a string, especially when you're talking about an electric guitar, where the majority of the sound of an electric guitar is coming from the pickup. Like, there are still people who will argue this, but like the pickup is like 95, maybe more % of the tone of an electric guitar. And I think some people will argue playability things about playability, things about comfort, things about nature of play. So things like sustain or the manner by which the guitar's resonance will interact with the pickup in terms of feedback and things like that, or where the pickup is in relationship to the bridge positions and where the picking occurs in relationship to the bridge and all of that. Like, I think a lot of those details are confused when talking about the guitar tone topic. But yeah, I feel like Jim Lil does a really good job with his YouTube channel in terms of exploring maybe more closely what's going on. It's hard to get to exactly what's going on a physics level, but he comes pretty close to that. Yeah, I like it. I dig it. I dig all those topics. I also like sort of the arguments of like where the tone comes from. Well, it's all very funny. I don't know. For me, I just like, do I have a guitar that works for the thing I want to do? That's about as far as I go into all of that. And that's hard enough just to get a guitar at all. They're so expensive, especially now. So anyway, I'm going to shut her down. It's 10:30. It was a fun one. I'm tired and I'm losing steam. So another fun one, a lot of great tracks. Going to be doing this again on the whatchamacallit on the next Friday. Or not next Friday, next month, first Friday of next month. What is it right now? It's April, so May. So first Friday of May. Let's take a quick look at when that is, what the number of the month is. It is the 3rd. So the 3rd of May, we will be doing this again. Get your tracks ready. I will probably have a track ready by then. You know, fingers crossed. You never know what's going on, but I think I will. But you never know. Hope to hear from all of you cats, and you can, I'll just put it in here real fast one more time. Scott at thebunn.ca. You know, a week prior to the next Bandcamp Friday, you can send me an email with your Bandcamp link. And I'd love to play your tracks on the stream. I don't play full tracks, as you know. I only play samples. But it's a great way to sort of share what people are doing. Great way to connect with other people. And, you know, just chat with the community and all that. So, I don't know. Get involved. It's a fun time. It's a good time. Kazuki is saying, it's wild. So many records have tones where it's different guitars and amps blended, and you can't really pick it apart. If it's distorted enough. Yeah, it's really hard, especially when there's gain, to really hear what's going on. I think it's really hard. Like, people put all this emphasis on modelers. I have a feeling that you could record a record, the same record, and especially if you use the same IRs on all of the, like, record a song and use the same IRs on every song, and you use an original Pod Red Bean, a Pod HD, an 11 rack, a Axe-FX original, an Axe-FX current, a Neural DSP, a Helix, etc. I think if you used all of those, a Kemper, on the same song, and you tried to get people to like pick it out, like which one is which, I don't think most people, if anybody, would be able to pick it out. I think it would all sound pretty similar. They'd sound different, slightly different. Some of them would sound more similar than you would imagine, but yeah, you know, gear, it's like, especially when there's gain, it's hard. You can do a pretty good job with most stuff if you have an idea of what you're doing. If you're very novice, it might be a lot harder, because there's certain tweaks that you got to do to get a good result, which just takes time, just takes playing with it, right? But yeah, I think there's way too much emphasis, and I got caught up in this, and I think it's good to get caught up in it, because getting caught up in the tone thing and all of that, you experiment with things and you throw yourself at it and try to figure it out. If you don't have experience with it, then it's hard to make sense of it, and it's hard to figure out exactly where you in fact stand on the topic, and in terms of figuring out what really actually matters to you, the artist. And that's ultimately what we want, I think. And I'm thankful that I've been able to not have to spend all that much money. I spent a lot of time, but you know, I know other people who've really gone crazy on amps and stuff, and I've definitely gone crazy myself, but not as crazy as some. Trying to figure out that, you know, the answer to that question, which is not like what's the best tone. It's like what is the thing that makes the biggest difference to me in terms of what I think I'm trying to do. And it's a hard question to answer. It's definitely worth trying. And it takes a lot of fooling around. Bag of Schmidt, bye. Araxis, have a good one. Yeah, I'm taking off. Yeah, just use what you got. Don't worry about everybody else's gear. And make riffs. Make sick riffs. That's the way to do it. With that, I'm out.